Before we get into the video, could everyone please subscribe to my Endless Diary Tales channel? Thank you so much. My younger sister and my childhood buddy Max started dating. She told Max that I had been picking on her during our college days. One afternoon after class, Max showed up with a crew to block me at the entrance of a narrow alley. In a chilly voice he told me, "You need to get your act together." During the scuffle I hit my head and ended up losing my memory. When I came to, a stranger was sitting beside my bed. "Don't you remember me?" he asked with a soft smile, gently touching my lips. "Didn't you say I was your favorite? Why are you looking at me so weird?" Suddenly, a notification popped up reminding me to subscribe to read the full story. I was dragged to an open area behind the library where 7 or 8 people stood before me, led by Max. He was the guy I had a crush on for years. "What are you planning to do?" I responded calmly. "Lily." Max tilted his head. I maintained my composure. "Lily." Max looked at me. "Bly, Lily is your sister, your real sister. How could you bring people to harass her?" I bit my lip. "You believe her just because she said so?" Max looked up at me, meeting my gaze. He suddenly grabbed my neck, pinning me against the wall. "Is she going to slap you a few times? Why are you still being stubborn?" He spoke softly, but his anger was palpable. "Max, are you here to defend her now?" Suddenly he released me. "My girlfriend was bullied. Can I stand up for her?" Several girls nearby stepped forward and held me down. One slapped my face. I couldn't move. I could only endure it. Max looked at me coldly. "Lily, you should learn your lesson too." I shouted in frustration. "Max, we've known each other for years. Have I ever bullied anyone?" He remained unmoved, just giving me a casual glance. "Lily said you were upset because the teacher gave her the last spot in the piano competition last time." After that he sneered again. How can I not believe my girlfriend? Any further argument was pointless to Max. My explanations were just weak excuses. Slap after slap hit my face. I just bit my lip and stayed silent. "Enough." The girls released me and walked away. Max approached and brushed my hair off my face. "Lily, you weren't like this before. Can you behave better from now on?" His eyes darkened. "I really hate it when you resist me." Max wasn't like this before. Even though he was usually laid back, he treated me well. But when it came to my sister Lily, he was always distant. It seemed to have started that day after a fight and a period of silence. With Max he changed. "Why are you back so late? Who were you with?" Max stood under my dorm building, looking like he had been waiting forever. It was a club event with lots of people. He gave a half smile. "Why is it that every time the party ends, it's always this guy bringing you back?" His questioning tone was a bit harsh. "Max, can you stop doing this every time? What exactly are you thinking?" Whenever I hung out with another guy, Max would always get serious and interrogate me like I was in trouble. He stared at me for a couple of seconds, then nodded and chuckled lightly. "All right. Maybe I'm overstepping." From that day, Max and I went through a cold war. A week later, I decided to make up and explain things to him. I felt safe with that guy bringing me back because he was into the same stuff as me. But when I reached his place, I saw Lily standing on tiptoe, kissing him on the lips. The guy had his hands in his pockets, not trying to dodge. I froze, stepped back, and kicked a flower pot, making a loud noise. They both turned around at the same time. Lily stood there, her face red and confused. Max just raised an eyebrow. "You came to see me?" "You too." I opened my dry lips, finally speaking after a long time. Lily reached out to hold Max's hand. "Max and I are together now," she smiled shyly. "Sis, you're the first to know." Max knew I liked him. Once I overheard him talking to his friends. "That childhood friend of yours, Mia, she likes you, right?" He laughed lazily. "Yeah, I figured as much. The love in her eyes when she looks at you was obvious." "Hey Max, do you like her?" Max just laughed and didn't answer. Now I knew his answer. Lily started openly dating Max. He showed favoritism towards her clearly. When Lily and I were having lunch in the cafeteria, Max would join us halfway. The guy lightly patted Lily's hand, which was messy with sauce. His tone was helpless yet indulgent. "How did you get sauce all over your hands while peeling shrimp? Aren't you silly?" Lily pouted and murmured flirtatiously. But I want to eat. Max snorted lightly. In such cases, if you have a boyfriend, you can ask him to do it. I lowered my head more, my eyes slightly red. I ate quietly, hoping to finish quickly and not draw attention. But Lily, as usual, kept sharing their daily love stories with me, even with Max around. Sis, Max is really thoughtful. Turned out he was like this when in a relationship. When I saw him with you before, he didn't seem gentle at all. I quickly adjusted my mood and took the last bite of my meal. Because you're his girlfriend, I said lightly, standing up with my tray. Right. Lily seemed clueless, with an innocent smile on her face. After all, you and Max are just friends. I forced a smile and said, I'm done eating, then left. Behind me, their casual conversation continued. Right, Max? Yeah, I only like you now. Eat the shrimp before it gets cold. Quicken my pace. Unconsciously, Lily's probing was obvious. She had seen the closeness between Max and me. Now doing all this in front of me was just to show how much Max liked her. Lily and I share the same birthday. The next time I saw Max was on our birthday. He came to my house to pick up Lily. Happy birthday! Max gently stroked her head. I was about to leave quietly when Lily called out to me. Max, today is also my sister's birthday. You should wish her a happy birthday too. I saw Max hesitate noticeably. Clearly, he had forgotten. Then he looked at me with a complicated expression. I felt awkward, the embarrassment rising. You two just enjoy your relationship without involving me. I forced a helpless smile, covering my deep sense of sadness. Even though I sometimes thought maybe Max was just trying to get back at me by being with Lily, at this moment I had to admit he had really fallen for her. Lily had never let her guard down around me. We went camping in the mountains with friends and got separated unexpectedly. Before I could find a way down, the sky suddenly darkened, a heavy rain started, and my phone lost signal. But I remembered seeing a few houses halfway up the mountain when we arrived. Just as I was about to head there, Lily and Max found me. I heard a faint voice from a distance and stopped in my tracks. Lily ran towards me with Max following behind her. When she was about 2 or 3 meters away, Lily tripped and twisted her left ankle. Max and I rushed to her side at the same time. How are you, Lily? Max and I asked simultaneously. My foot hurts so much, Lily said. Tears mixed with rainwater on her face, making her look pitiful and disheveled. Max's eyes were filled with pain, and his voice softened. I'll carry you down the mountain. Good girl, hang in there. I helped Lily onto Max's back. Take it slow, I spoke, but Max interrupted me coldly. Mia, can't you learn not to trouble others? If we hadn't come out to find you, Lily wouldn't have gotten hurt. I was taken aback. Lily tugged at his sleeve from behind. All right, stop talking. I came to my senses and lowered my eyes. Sorry for worrying you. We descended the mountain in silence. I had accidentally scratched my calf while looking for a way down earlier. Blood kept oozing out. When Max took Lily to the hospital, I went along to get my wound treated. Sis, are you hurt? Lily looked at my calf. Max paused his action of holding Lily and followed her gaze to look at me. His expression darkened even more. You got hurt and didn't say anything? As he spoke, he walked towards me, intending to carry me to the car. I subtly avoided his hand. It's just a small wound, it's nothing. Can you listen for once, Mia? Let me check if it's infected. He seemed to forget Lily's presence and squatted in front of me. Really, it's not necessary. I'll wait for you in the car. When I turned around, I met Lily's bloodless face. Maybe it was from that moment on that, to prevent me from getting closer to Max, she became more and more distant from me, even to the point of falsely accusing me of bullying her. But this time I didn't plan to endure it. When I got home with a swollen face, Lily was leaning on the second floor railing drinking milk tea. When she looked at me, her innocent eyes blinked, and my anger surged instantly. I walked upstairs and grabbed her shoulder. Didn't you say someone beat you up? I curled my lips. If I didn't make this accusation true, it really wouldn't justify the slaps I took. Lily had barely spoken a word when I slapped her again. Max arrived at my house before me. He came out of Lily's room and saw the scene. He immediately pulled my hand away. Mia, his voice was icy, don't force me to get physical with you. I sneered and was about to slap him back when he grabbed my wrist. I grabbed my wrist and struggled desperately. Max's other hand also reached for me in the chaos. A pair of hands pushed my back, and I tumbled down the stairs in front of me. Mia! Max roared. My head hit the corner of a cabinet, and my consciousness blurred before I completely lost it. I saw the front door open. A familiar figure ran towards me. It seemed to be Ryan, my stepbrother, who had been on a business trip for 2 months. When I groggily woke up, it was already late. 2 people were standing by the bed talking. The patient has a blood clot in the brain and may experience temporary amnesia after waking up. Okay. My eyelids were so heavy that I couldn't open them, and I fell back asleep again. The second time, I probably hadn't slept for long when I woke up. It was still dark outside. A stranger was sitting by my bedside. "Does your head still hurt?" His voice was very gentle. I looked at him and shook my head. Then I realized that I didn't remember anything, so I had to bluntly ask the person in front of me. "I seem to have lost my memory. May I ask who you are?" His expression showed no surprise. Instead, it carried a hint of a smile. The man touched my lips gently with his hand. "Your boyfriend." He knew I didn't believe him, so he handed me my phone. Then he showed me a message from his own phone. I had saved his contact as Ryan. "Why is our chat history blank?" "Because you were afraid others would find out about our relationship. You always deleted it," Ryan replied smoothly. I continued to look at my phone, half believing, half doubting. I reviewed past chat records with others and began to get a partial understanding of my identity. I also learned that Ryan was my stepbrother. I looked up at him, puzzled. "But aren't we siblings in name?" He leaned in close to me, his fingertip brushing my cheek. His gaze didn't waver at all. "So we've always been secretly." "Secretly what?" His gaze followed his words downward. "Secretly dating, secretly kissing, secretly." The door was suddenly pushed open, interrupting his words. "Mia." I had a photo of this person on my phone. It was Max, my sister Lily's boyfriend. "Mia's body hasn't recovered yet. Can you come to see her another time?" Ryan spoke in a very polite tone, but Max acted as if he hadn't heard and took another step towards me. Ryan's smile didn't change. The next second, 2 suited bodyguards walked into the ward. After glancing at Ryan, they directly dragged Max out. I inexplicably withdrew my gaze and focused on the present issue. I looked at Ryan again. "Are we really boyfriend and girlfriend?" "Of course. If you don't believe it, let's take our time to get used to it. Okay?" The man's voice was gentle. "Mia, I'll help you slowly remember the feeling of liking me." His long fingers gently held my cheek, and I instinctively rubbed against them. "Okay." After being discharged from the hospital, Ryan took me to his private villa. It was just in time for summer vacation. Ryan simply asked for leave on my behalf, and I would make up the exams when school started. When we got out, the car in the parking lot, Ryan scooped me up in his arms and carried me to the elevator. He looked down at me and spoke gently. "Is it uncomfortable for you to be held like this during my hospital stay?" Ryan's meticulous care had already made me somewhat desensitized to him. I felt my ears heat up. "No, it's not, bro," I replied softly. The man chuckled and adjusted his hold on me. My chin rested on his shoulder, inexplicably giving me a sense of security. As the elevator doors were about to close, a hand blocked them. It was Max, who had hurried over, his black hair slightly damp with sweat on his forehead. "You just agreed to live with him so easily?" There was a hint of anger in his eyes. I didn't understand why my sister's boyfriend was always bothering me, but it was never a good thing. Moreover, Ryan had shown me the surveillance footage from home. From that angle, it was clear that he and my biological sister had pushed me down the stairs. So when I looked at Max again, my gaze unconsciously carried a bit of hostility. "What does it have to do with you?" My biological father and stepmother were on vacation in the southern hemisphere. Ryan was the only one who took care of me during my hospital stay, and naturally, he became the only person I trusted after my amnesia. "Do you really not remember me?" Max raised his hand, trying to pull me. "Clearly, you were always closest to me." His dry and hoarse voice made him seem somewhat pathetic. I didn't believe him, and inexplicably, I felt a strong aversion to this person from the bottom of my heart. I retracted my hand that was placed on Ryan's chest. Brother, I frowned, looking at my silent boyfriend. Yes? Why don't you chase him away? Let someone else bother your girlfriend. I pursed my lips, looking at him with some disapproval. You're making me feel a bit awkward. I spoke seriously, expecting to provoke Ryan's displeasure, but he just chuckled lightly as if he agreed with me. My bad. He rubbed the back of my head and pressed me into his embrace. In the darkness, the sounds around me became clearer. Didn't I tell you last time not to disturb her rest? Ryan sounded like he was gently inquiring. Max stubbornly smirked without any real smile. Do I need you to tell me? You better put me down now. In the next moment, through the crack, I saw Ryan's bodyguards silently appear again. One of them directly kicked Max to the ground, kneeling in front of Ryan. Max gritted his teeth. Ryan covered my exposed ear with his hand, but I could still vaguely hear the man's tone, which remained gentle yet carried undeniable authority. He seemed like a noble judge elegantly sentencing a criminal. I don't like others pestering Mia, just like you wouldn't want your sister in Burlington to mysteriously disappear, right? Max instantly fell silent. This is my last warning to you. Ryan didn't wait for his response and carried me back into the elevator. There were sounds of punches and kicks. Behind us, Ryan threatening me won't work. I'll wait for the day Mia remembers, and I will reconcile with her sooner or later. Don't forget, Mia didn't like you at all before she lost her memory. I heard the rest of his words intermittently, but before I could delve into these issues, another troubling matter was placed before me. It instantly diverted my attention. Are we going to live in one room? I recalled what Ryan had said before, hesitating about how to bring it up. He just carried me straight into a room. You'll sleep here. Saying that, he placed me by the bed. It was a very girly bedroom. He knew I hadn't remembered yet and didn't force me to live with him. He really respected me. I watched his back, my heartbeat seeming to skip a beat. Ryan remembered what I liked to eat, what I didn't, and what I was allergic to. He even remembered many of my little habits. I began to gradually believe that we were once a couple. The main reason was that I found myself starting to like him a little. Ryan was very busy, but no matter how busy he was, he would always find time to take me out for a walk and come home to have dinner with me. Then he would work late into the night in his study. I always felt that I should do something for him, so I followed a recipe on the computer and learned to make soup for him. As I was carefully adding salt, a pair of hands wrapped around my waist. Making soup, the man's breath tickled my ear. A warmth spread through my ear. Who are you making it for? I felt he was asking the obvious, but I answered seriously. For you, bro. Good girl. He hugged me from behind. His lips seemed to rest on my earlobe, almost but not quite kissing. Does this kind of hug make you uncomfortable? No, actually, I wanted to say. No matter how you hug me, I'm already used to it. That day, Ryan stopped at this. I didn't expect that our next step would be initiated by me. That day was the first rainy day since I lost my memory. The cold night wind, accompanied by bursts of thunder, made me a little scared. Wearing my nightdress, I knocked on Ryan's room door. What's wrong? I looked up feeling a bit shy. Bro, can I sleep with you? I'm a little scared. He looked down at me, not answering immediately. I felt a bit awkward. Aren't we supposed to be a couple? Was this suggestion that difficult for you to decide? As I was sinking deeper into my thoughts, I was suddenly lifted up by a pair of hands around my waist. Ryan held me face to face, sitting me in his arms. Okay. He looked into my eyes and spoke softly. Seeing the nearly face-to-face distance between us, I couldn't help but feel puzzled. My boyfriend seemed a bit too gentlemanly. A sudden clap of thunder roared. I jumped and hid in his arms. Bro, don't be afraid. The man's hand gently stroked my back. I'm here, don't be afraid. Okay. His voice was close to my ear. The distance suddenly shortened. I lifted my head from his chest, feeling my face heat up. Are we really a couple? If we are, why haven't you ever kissed me? He pressed my back, pulling me toward. He pinched my chin and lifted it, forcing me to meet his gaze. Do you want a kiss? I bit my lip, not answering. This question was too straightforward. Ryan's thumb caressed my lower lip. Have you fallen for me? I thought for a moment and nodded slightly. I think I have. The man smiled and kissed me slowly at first. He just brushed against my lips, lightly biting until I couldn't help but make a sound. Then he pried open my teeth, sweeping away the air in my mouth. I didn't know when, but he had already turned over on top of me, pinning my wrists, our fingers intertwined. Ambiguously, the man looked down at me from above. Mia. Yes. His other hand was already caressing the edge of my clothes, almost but not quite entering. Do you want to take the next step? What's the next step? I didn't react immediately, still slightly panting. The man's fingertips had already slipped under my shirt, caressing my waist. There was a hint of desire in his eyes. Ryan lowered his body intentionally, letting me feel it. This is the next step. This might be the hottest spot on this bed, even through 2 layers of fabric. Are you scared? He bit my earlobe. I shivered instinctively, struggling to find the right words. Fortunately, Ryan didn't make it difficult for me and quickly pulled away. Go to sleep first. He patted my head and went straight into the bathroom. I had amnesia, but I'm not stupid. With just a door between us, I knew what he was doing. The sound from the bathroom stimulated my eardrums, making me more awake. By the time Ryan, with his body cool from the shower, lay down, I was still wide awake. I felt a bit embarrassed but still moved closer. Can we kiss a little longer? I asked him, blushing. Ryan turned his head slightly, raising an eyebrow. I find your kisses very comfortable, like teasing a peeled lychee with your lips. How do you want to kiss? He moved closer without showing any emotion like just now. I suppressed the urge to hide under the covers and nodded. Ryan propped himself up with both hands by my ears and leaned down to give a light kiss. Not like that. I got a bit anxious. He kissed the corner of my lips densely, his voice right by my lips. Then how, Mia? Show me. I knew he was doing it on purpose, but his coaxing tone in the already ambiguous atmosphere made me a little dizzy. Almost involuntarily, I wrapped my arms around his neck, leaning up slightly to find his lips like he did just now, opening my mouth and prying open his teeth. Just as I was still wanting more, Ryan let go of me again. Mia. His breath was a bit heavy. I stared at his lips, leaning in again. You should sleep. Ryan blocked my kiss, pressing his hand on my shoulder to stop my movement. I pursed my lips and replied softly, okay. I didn't insist anymore. Otherwise, he would have to go to the bathroom for the 3rd time tonight. That day was the first time I saw Lily after waking up from the hospital. Although I knew she was the one who pushed me down, my injuries hadn't fully healed yet, and I was worried about my fighting strength, so I didn't rush to settle the score with her unexpectedly. She came to me first. At that time I was climbing onto Ryan, straddling him. Bro. I pulled the tablet out of his hands and tossed it aside. We haven't kissed today. I seriously reminded him of his boyfriend duties. It wasn't because I particularly wanted to kiss him. Ryan leaned back on the sofa, a bit lazy in his expression. Do it yourself. His hand just rested on my waist. He had no intention of initiating a kiss. All right then. I reluctantly hesitated for a second before bending down to bite his lips. Can you be gentler? I pulled back a little, looking at him apologetically. Did I hurt you? A barely noticeable smile appeared on the corner of his lips. His hand slid to my back and pressed down. Suddenly, I fell onto his chest, unprepared. A little bit, he said. I apologized to him, then put my hands on his shoulders, gently approaching his lips. Mia, a sharp female voice interrupted the kiss. I looked towards the direction of the voice. Lily was standing by the window, her eyes filled with rage. Just as well I wanted to see her too. Sis, can you explain to me why you're living with our stepbrother, Ryan? Lily took a step closer to me, seemingly suppressing her anger. I remember you used to avoid him like the plague. I was puzzled. Because he's my boyfriend. That's what he tricked you into believing, Lily sneered. You never liked him before. At this point, I still didn't understand why she was so determined to clear up my relationship with Ryan. I turned to look at him. He was just sitting on the sofa, calmly watching me. I redirected my attention back to Lily, focusing on the main issue. This is none of your business. I just want to ask you, what were you thinking when you pushed your own sister down the stairs? Her face was pale as she looked at me with resentment. Her lower lip was almost bitten through. Are you still planning to settle accounts with me? Are you still not satisfied? Sister tears suddenly fell from her eyes as she looked at Ryan. Didn't Ryan get the school to cancel my competition qualification for you? I wasn't allowed to participate in any events throughout my university years. All those years of hard piano practice were wasted. I blinked. So Ryan had already stood up for me. Lily walked up to Ryan, holding back her tears. As long as I've known you, sister has known you too. Why do you favor her? I paused, finally realizing Lily seemed to have unusual feelings for Ryan. What did Max mean then? While I was still entangled in this complex love quadrangle, I saw my dear sister reaching out to grab my boyfriend. I immediately stepped forward and slapped her hand away. Don't you have a boyfriend? Why are you clinging to someone else's boyfriend? Then I turned around and glared at Ryan. He didn't even try to avoid her but just looked at me emotionlessly without blinking. I decided to deal with the immediate problem first. Lily, don't think you're pitiful just because you were banned from competitions. Was pushed down the stairs by you and hospitalized for over a month. Aren't you standing here just fine? I'll deal with this slowly with you. She gave an oblique smile. How you plan to deal with me is just a matter of one word, isn't it? After all, he's willing to do anything for you. Lily stared at Ryan as if expecting him to look at her. But when I followed her gaze, Ryan's eyes were still on me. It was like she gave up, pulled a mocking smile and left. Don't you have anything to explain? Once again, it was just the two of us in the room. I began to settle accounts with Ryan. The man remained as composed as ever but lowered his eyes, avoiding my gaze. He wore his usual casual smile. She's right, I lied to you before. You lost your memory. You didn't like me at all. I looked at him quietly. Suddenly, I glimpsed the sadness hidden beneath his nonchalant tone. He didn't even urge me to respond, as if he had no expectations from me. Previously, he would only hug me proactively. Even kisses were initiated by me, including the abrupt end that night, which now had an explanation. Ryan wasn't unwilling. He was just afraid that if one day I regained my memory, I would hate him. The increasingly stifling atmosphere in the room was broken by my light hum. Let's put this aside for now. Can you explain something more important to me first? I forced a stiff smile, my voice turning cold. Just now when Lily pulled you, why didn't you avoid her? Whose boyfriend has such little sense of boundaries? He raised his eyes slightly, meeting my gaze calmly for a long time. The faint breeze slipping through the window dispelled the gloom in his eyes. Come here. I walked up to him with the intention of having a serious discussion. Before I could speak, I was pulled into his embrace. His slightly hoarse voice sounded in my ear. Yeah, my bad. He tightened his hold on me. I promise I won't let her touch me again. Can you forgive me? I nuzzled his neck, hugging him back with my lower face buried in his collarbone. My voice came out muffled. Don't let it happen again, I get jealous. He remained silent, holding me. I turned my head slightly and kissed his cheek. Sweetheart, love is a feeling, not memory. Even if I remember everything, I won't stop liking you. Don't worry. I patted his back gently to comfort him. Ryan chuckled lightly. He lifted me and pressed me into the sofa, continuing what had been interrupted by Lily. As our lips and tongues entwined, his hand held my neck, pressing me closer. Do you want to go further, Mia? I wrapped my arms around his neck, leaning close to his ear. I softly retorted, it's obviously you who wants to. The man paused his kisses on my neck with a light smile. Yes, it's me who wants to. In the next second, I was lifted from the sofa and carried to the bedroom. Daytime combined with the first experience, the double impact truly left me nowhere to hide. I kept my eyes tightly shut, not daring to look at the person hovering above me. Open your eyes, Mia. He always had a way of making me obey. If I didn't, in my eyes, soon I wouldn't be able to hold back my voice. Our eyes met and desire surged. Ryan pressed my chin, forcing me to open my mouth to accept his kiss. This is more interesting than kissing. His shoulders were covered in fine sweat. Don't you like it, Mia? I was already in a daze, like a piece of driftwood floating on the sea, swaying and bobbing. Sometimes it felt like gentle waves lapping, but mostly it was like the harsh impact of striking a reef. The fragile driftwood board wove through the rocks, crashing from one side to the other. The only constant was the force. At this moment, fighting with Ryan was futile, so I mustered my strength to answer. I like it. As soon as the words left my mouth, I felt myself being released. After a rapid current, I was washed ashore by the swift stream. Limp and tranquil, I lay there and declared that as a piece of driftwood, I no longer wished to go back to sea. But clearly Ryan did not think so. He seemed to have discovered a new world. After exploring from multiple angles, he wanted to explore different locations, for example the balcony, the kitchen counter, and even the car in the parking garage. Ryan let me go, and I leaned weakly against him. What did you call me? His hand playfully teased my earlobe. Bro. His hand returned to my shoulder. Yeah, it will end soon. I breathed a sigh of relief. Leland and Max broke up as the blood clot in my brain dissipated. I slowly began to remember things from the past. I wasn't surprised when I heard the news. I understood my younger sister Lily very well. After she was born, our parents became busier with work. She received too little love, and combined with our parents' divorce right around her high school entrance exams, she faced double the pressure. It was this lack of love and her twisted competitive nature that shaped her into who she is today. Lily never liked Max. The person she had always secretly liked was Ryan. That late night, I received a call from Lily. Sis, why does everyone like you? She choked out her grievances. Being with Max was her way of sending me a message. So what if your best childhood friend likes me more than you? In her subconscious, Lily saw me as her biggest rival and competitor. Her insecurity about Max wasn't out of jealousy. She simply didn't want to see Max treat me better than he treated her. To put it simply, she wanted the whole world to like her the most. Ryan liking me was completely unexpected for her. To have the person she secretly liked fall for her rival was too much for her to bear. She knew better than to confess to Ryan, but I ended up being with him. When Lily drunkenly called Ryan, I was sitting on his lap, playing Angry Birds on his phone. Seeing Lily's call, I answered it. Can you only see my sister? Tell me, how am I worse than her? On the other end of the line, the girl cried out her grievances, but Ryan wasn't listening at all. He kissed down my ear while opening the drawer of the bedside table. 3 left. He bit my ear lightly, his breath teasing. That's enough, but... I wasn't in the mood. Yet I pushed Ryan's hand away and sneered at the voice on the phone. Lily, treating your own sister as a rival, you really are something. There was silence on the other end. I was furious with my morally twisted sister, ready to lecture her for hours. Ryan was already impatient. Are you done? He took the phone, hung up, and threw it aside. Mia, help me out first, okay? The fire was ready to ignite. The flame spreading through the wilderness needed a rainstorm to extinguish it. Until the rain ceased, the wilderness would come back to life, but the one bringing the rain was exhausted. Early the next morning, I had only slept a few hours when I got a call from the hospital. Lily had drunk and driven the night before and crashed into a tree. Not only was her license revoked, but her right leg would also be in a cast for a while. I couldn't forgive everything Lily had done to me, but I couldn't push her down the stairs myself. I could only say I wasn't as cold-blooded as she was. This car accident was her lesson. Later, I went to the hospital to see Lily. Her eyes were clearer than before, and she didn't mention Ryan again, but her words were weak. I'm sorry, sis. I couldn't bring myself to say, it's okay. So I remained silent. Before I left, she suddenly mentioned Max. Sis, didn't you notice Max likes you? I didn't take her words to heart until I saw Max again. Ryan was invited to support the opening of a new private shooting range by a wealthy young man. I want to go too. Can you teach me how to shoot? I excitedly shook Ryan's sleeve. If I had known Max would be there too, I wouldn't have gone myself, nor would I have let Ryan go to make things difficult for himself. When we arrived, there were already quite a few people at the range. Almost everyone who saw Ryan came over to greet him, except for the young man wearing noise-canceling headphones in the distance. Max was completely isolated from the outside world, immersed in aiming at his target. Ryan, how about a match? Ryan looked down at me. I nodded vigorously. I've never seen you shoot before. He raised an eyebrow slightly and agreed. After putting on the gear, Ryan raised his hand to aim. Everyone instinctively quieted down, holding their breath. Bang! A bullet hole appeared on the target. Only 6 points. Ryan smiled and put down the gun, playing with it casually. Sorry, Mr. Blake. Max walked in from the outer area, apologizing insincerely. My hand slipped, and I hit your target. After speaking, he glanced at Ryan, finally resting his gaze on me. Ryan hadn't had a chance to fire. The 6 points just now were shot by Max, deliberately trying to embarrass Ryan. Hurry, apologize to Mr. Blake. Someone reminded Max. In high society, class distinctions are more pronounced. Ryan was at the top and Max had just squeezed into the circle. He was arrogant and flamboyant at school, but here he was nothing. Ryan took off his headphones and sat down on the sofa next to me. The situation gradually became tense. I was just careless. Mr. Blake won't mind such a small matter, right? Max leaned against the railing, pulling out a smile. Ryan didn't respond. He rarely lit a cigarette. Holding it between his fingers, he took a light puff before speaking with a smile. You didn't take my warning seriously. Max sneered. My sister is back in the country. What do you want to threaten me with this time? Tell me, I'm listening. Ryan seemed to laugh at the young man's naivety. He tapped the ash off his cigarette, his gaze casually falling on the marble ashtray. Why would I want to threaten you? Max slowly withdrew his smile, as if not understanding Ryan's calm demeanor. After extinguishing the remaining half of the cigarette, Ryan slowly spoke. Press his head against the target. He didn't even specify who should do it, but someone immediately walked towards Max. Among this group of people were Max's friends, but no one dared to offend Ryan. Everyone's stance was clear. Max, outnumbered, was quickly forced against the target. Blake, what do you mean using my head as a target? He provocatively challenged. If you have the guts, shoot at my head. As soon as he finished speaking, mocking laughter erupted around him, blatantly mocking Max's overestimation of himself. Bro, I felt unfamiliar with this side of Ryan, tugging at his sleeve and calling him softly, H. Ryan picked up the headphones and put them on me. I'll teach you how to shoot. He led me over, placing the handgun in my hand. Holding my hand from behind, he lifted it, aiming at Max's forehead. I couldn't help but tremble. His lips almost touched my ear as he chuckled lightly. Don't be afraid. Across from us, Max went from shouting recklessly to now being silent and tense. A quick turnaround. Ryan didn't rush to pull the trigger. He just looked at Max again. Repeat your last sentence. Max pressed his lips together, silent. It was clear he was scared but unwilling to admit it. Ryan's smile didn't change as he suddenly pressed my hand to fire above Max's head. The bullet grazed his hair, hitting the target. I said, repeat it. Ryan took it from my hand, directly aiming it at Max, gently reminding him again. The young man, pressed down and unable to move, was startled back to his senses by the shot. Cold sweat dripped from his forehead as he pressed his lips tightly, reluctantly speaking after a long pause. If you have the guts, shoot at my head. Very good. Ryan fired 2 more shots, the bullets grazing past his face. Max remained silent, but his pale face showed he was deeply frightened. When the person pressing him down suddenly let go, he staggered, a sign of weak legs. Even though he knew Ryan wouldn't actually shoot him, he was still scared that a stray bullet might hit him. Finding ways to grasp someone's weakness and then threatening them is a tactic reserved for equals. But to Ryan, Max was nothing. Crushing him underfoot was a piece of cake with absolute capability. As evening approached, the young master who organized the gathering, Herring, had already arranged a hotel for us to stay in. I thought Max would have left after being humiliated like that, but not only did he stay, he was in the room next to ours. Were you scared by that shot today? Ryan sat on the edge of the bed, playing with my hand. I immediately knelt up and scooted closer to him. Not at all. I knew you were just trying to scare Max. It wasn't a real bullet. He deserved it. I remember he used to bully me in my gradually recovering memories. It seemed that Max had once had someone slap me. I just thought it was really exciting. I felt a bit unsatisfied. Ryan pinched my fingertips, a slight curve appearing on his lips. You like excitement? I nodded, instantly about to ask him to continue teaching me to shoot tomorrow. But then the man picked up the tie he had just taken off and wrapped it around my hands, binding my wrists slowly and methodically. Don't you like excitement? Afraid that the hotel room wasn't soundproof, I bit my teeth tightly. During the first half, Ryan noticed and reached out to pinch my jaw, pushing it down. My eyes widened immediately. Make some noise, Mia. Of course, this was his gentle side, still willing to discuss with me in this regard. He had plenty of ways to make me speak up. As I prayed desperately that the room was soundproof, there was a knock on the door. My entire body tensed up, causing Ryan to let out a soft hiss. Hello? Other guests have reported that you seem to be disturbing their rest. Could you please? I didn't know how the hotel staff said this without any emotion, but Ryan didn't show the slightest embarrassment. Instead, he interrupted the person outside. Whoever is disturbed can come and tell me themselves. After saying that, he ignored the person outside and turned his attention back to me. Relax. He patted me suggestively. It was obvious that the person who complained was Max. Normally, he would have kicked the door down by now, but today Ryan had just dealt with him. He didn't have the guts to cause a scene. High-intensity exercise is really exhausting. When Ryan went back to the bathroom, I changed clothes and went to the 24-hour convenience store on the next floor to buy some snacks. Mia? I paused and turned wearily to look at Max. He tugged at the corner of his mouth. It's really hard to see you. That guy Blake is watching you too closely. Do you need something? My back was so sore that I couldn't stand for long, and I had no energy for small talk. I know it might be too late to say anything now. You're in love with Ryan, and even if I wanted to help you remember the past, you wouldn't believe me. He looked exhausted, his eyes dull. It seemed that since I woke up, this guy in front of me had been getting more and more disheveled each time I saw him. He no longer had the confident look he used to have. I've remembered a lot. Max's eyes lit up. Really? Do you remember that we were once the closest of childhood friends? I quietly watched him and shook my head. Remember that the person you liked was Lily. You treated her well, peeled shrimp for her, and took her out for her birthday. I also remember that you had someone slap me because of her, didn't you? There was panic in his eyes, and he opened his mouth as if to explain something, but he couldn't say a word. Lily said you liked me. I looked at him puzzled. Max seemed to feel that his affection was unworthy, and after a long while he softly said, Yes, but if you liked me, why didn't you remember my birthday? And why did you have someone hit me? It doesn't make sense. Max laughed self-deprecatingly. Yes, I was a jerk, Mia. I know you don't believe me, but the person I've always liked is you. As for your sister, I was with her at first just to annoy you, but she looks like you, though her personality is completely different. It was like seeing another you, and I couldn't help but like her for a while. But when you fell down the stairs, I realized that you were the most important to me. Although what Ryan did this afternoon already made me feel better, I couldn't help but slap him again. After hearing this, I said, You really are despicable. He didn't move, letting me hit him, but even touching his hand made me uncomfortable. Mia, I'll let you hit me as much as you want, just forgive me, okay? After he finished speaking, he tried to grab my hand and hit himself. The first part of your suggestion isn't bad. Ryan appeared out of nowhere. His bodyguard stopped Max from moving. This is what you asked for, Ryan said, his eyes full of satisfied laughter. Before Max could react, the bodyguard slapped him hard. A bodyguard standing at 1.8 meters and weighing 160 to 170 pounds hits much harder than I do. Ouch, that looked painful. I blinked and looked away. The man in front of me hadn't even dried his hair. The black strands on his forehead were still slightly damp. He looked exactly the same as he did an hour ago when he was sweating slightly from his intense actions. Bro, my back is sore. Can you carry me back? I stretched out my arms to him. He gently asked back. If your back is sore, how can you stand here chatting for so long? All right, I got dragged into this by Max. Just as I was about to withdraw my stiff arms, Ryan picked me up. Once again, I was sitting in the crook of his arm. I wrapped my arms around his neck and explained earnestly. It was him who stopped me, not letting me go. I'm not lying to you, my back really is sore. If you want to do anything else, it might break. Ryan didn't listen to my threats at all. He physically proved that my back was indeed not broken. Didn't you go downstairs to buy snacks just now? The light in front of me flickered, and I nodded instinctively. There was a rustling sound in my ear. Then I was picked up and seated. Weren't you hungry? Ryan tore off a piece of bread and fed it to me. Is feeding me now a way of telling me that there's still a long way to go and I need to replenish my energy? I opened my mouth and ate it. At that moment, my hatred for Max reached its peak. I felt Ryan looking at me, but I was too tired to even lift my eyelids. "You can really eat," he commented in a low voice. Because of Ryan's influence over this period, I almost immediately realized he might be implying something else. Chewing on the bread, I idly thought of some things. When I was 17, Max and I had a fight by the road. The sun had already set, and he didn't even look at me. He just put on his helmet and rode off on his motorcycle. I walked alone by the roadside in the suburbs. There wasn't even a car nearby. Lily was still at school, so I could only call Ryan. "Bro, can you send someone to pick me up?" I politely asked the stepbrother I wasn't familiar with. "Are you alone?" "Yes." "Send me your location." "Okay, thank you, bro." Half an hour later, a black car stopped in front of me, but it was Ryan who got out of the car. I didn't expect him to come in person. After all, my stepmother always said how busy Ryan was. Back then, it was the same season as now, just the beginning of spring. The cold wind still carried a strong chill. Probably because I'd been in the wind too long, I felt dizzy. Shortly after sitting in the passenger seat, I fell asleep. Days later, Ryan stopped the car and carried me out of the passenger seat. I couldn't open my eyes at all, and my voice was slurred. "Thank you, bro. Keep sleeping." Oh, before I could finish speaking, I fell asleep again. That wasn't the first time Ryan helped me clean up a mess. I think everyone's love leaves traces, even for someone as reserved as Ryan. I slowly came back to my senses. I raised my hand to hug the man's shoulder above me. "Ryan." "Yes. I love you." He bit my earlobe. "I love you too." It was a satisfying ending. At this moment, I suddenly felt that this amnesia wasn't entirely a bad thing. That day when I woke up in the hospital bed on a spring night, I heard the first lie. "I'm your boyfriend." Believing it was the start of this story,